Purpose that I have here is just to provide you guys some in-depth training to your guys' associations, administrators, leadership, and district stakeholders to better understand how AMP can improve your guys' association's membership and communication. So today's training will address, I have a few topics here that we're going to go through. Again, Mike, like you were saying in the beginning, what your membership will see when they try to register. So we're going to start off at the ground zero, like I mentioned, right on your guys' home screen. As soon as you guys pop in the URL, what your new members will see, what your existing members will see. I'm going to go through and create like a fake profile so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. We'll go through how you can email and communicate with your membership using Final Forms AMP. How you can keep track of new members as they register. So as you get new coaches, registering in your guys' AMP, how you guys can stay on top of them to make sure that they're signing their forms correctly, getting everything in there that they need. And then also just a few other points we have. I'm not trying to go through all this right now, but how to generate reports. We're going to go through any like member payment history. If you guys are dealing with payment processing, we'll show you that. And then how you guys can find any events that are being hosted by your guys' association. So again, I'll go ahead and just start from the very, very beginning here. We'll just start with, what your membership will see when they register with Final Forms AMP in your guys' association site. So coming over to my page here, I'm going to refresh so you guys can kind of see. This is your guys' website. I'm starting from, again, ground zero here. Your guys' website, this is exactly where new members will go. Your existing members will go. This is where you guys as administrators will all go to log in to your guys' AMP site, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to register as if I was a brand new coach coming into your guys' association, and I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like and what information is needed. So, again, I go over to the login sign up button here. Okay. If you guys have an existing account, you guys would obviously log in at the top here. I'm going to go ahead and apply for a OSSCA membership here. So apply for an account. Okay. So I'm just going to go through and put in my fake information here. Okay. Okay. So what we need is name, email address, membership type here. I'm going to say that I am a head coach, for example. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then we would select, okay, am I a head coach at a high school, middle school, elementary, whatever the case is.
I got a question.
Sure.
When you sign in at head coach at $90, is that going to be different for every district?
It should not be, no. So it looks like the head coach is going to be your guys' head coach for the association. It's the same price that it would be depending on what district they're in. At least that's the understanding that I have. And it would be the same thing if I was an assistant coach in Cleveland or in Youngstown, for example. It would be the same thing across the board for the association, I believe.
No. Our head coaches, for our head coaches to join is $125.
That
okay.
So that's got to be different.
Okay. If there's if there's anything that we need to change here based on region or district in terms of like what your guys' prices are, I'm sure that we could talk about that with our development team, and we can make sure that if this is not correct, that's okay. We could go ahead and get it set up based on whatever your guys' district or region needs. So.
Okay.
Cool. Alrighty. So again here, I'm going to go ahead and pick head coach. As I go through, I'm going to go ahead and say that I am a high school boys soccer coach in this instance, of course. Because I coach for Brooklyn myself right now, I'm going to use Brooklyn here and just say that I am the head coach of Brooklyn High School soccer. Okay. As I go through this whole process, I'm going to go ahead and create the account. Okay. So here we go. My account application is submitted. It looks like my application has been successfully submitted. If I return back to my home screen, I would then get an email that would pop in. Basically, when the application gets applied, what happens then is they would get approved. They would then go through and set up a password so that they can get into their account. Once they get into their account, then they would sign in to Final Forms AMP, and then they would get into their home screen. So what I'm going to do at this time now, I'm going to shift gears and I'm going to log in as myself now so that you guys can kind of see. I'll show you what it looks like from like a new member's perspective, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like from your guys' perspective as an admin. So just give me 1 second to go through that. Okay. So let's first log in. So let's just go back to, again, a new member, for example. Let's go in and let's just say that we'll use Christian here, for example.
Nick, before you get too far along, hey Gene, I do believe that each association within the Ohio Association can set its own fee structure. So I think that was set up that way. I wrote that down, and I'll get back to you about it as soon as I get an answer for you. But I'm pretty sure each association is going to set it up to its own fee structure.
Gotcha.
So we're going to be setting that up, or are you setting?
No. The Final Forms will take care of that. If you remember at the meeting we attended, John put up on the screen a list of all the fees, and they were all different based on each association, and that's what Final Forms is going to use to build the fee structure. So that should be reflective in the fees. But I will email John to make sure, and Brian, and I'll get back to you tomorrow.
Okay. Yep.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys. So if I went through the process, I'm all good. I would get an email basically to confirm my account. I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you what this button is in a second. But really, I just want to go ahead and go back to the whole thing, showing you guys what it looks like from your members' perspective first. And I'll touch base on what all these buttons, what I'm pressing is right now. So okay, so let's just use the example. Let's say, okay, I've set my, I've put my application in, I've got accepted, I put my password in, I'm ready to go ahead and start signing forms and renewing my membership. So this is exactly what this page is here, is exactly what your members would see when they get logged in to Final Forms AMP, okay? So it would prompt them to renew their membership. You can see here at the top where the 3 is, this will show them where their forms are located. So this is all their contact information that they need to fill out, their OSSCA information that they need, as well as their schools and groups that they're a part of. Okay, so this is the entire, basically the entire process in terms of them being able to sign forms, being able to pay memberships. If you guys have any events that are taking place as well, they have right now. There's none that are currently taking place, but if there are, this is the events tab that they'd be able to see that they could go ahead and register for, I don't know, conference, an event, whatever the case is that you guys are doing. That's where your members will see all that. So again, I just wanted to show you guys from the members' perspective what it looks like from start to basically finish in terms of registering for an account, getting into your account once you've set your password, and going through and signing forms and all that good stuff. And they also do have the ability to see their members. So if in the members directory, which is what you guys, I have to renew my membership first before I can see my member. Well, basically, if I went through and paid my membership, clicking on the members directory is going to take them to, and I'll show you what it is, this thing here. And this is what I obviously can see because I'm logged in as myself. But this is your members directory. So this is where they could go through and they can sort by whatever region, whatever district that they're in. If they need to contact whoever they need to contact that is a part of your guys' membership, they'll have the ability to do that here. So again, just showing you guys the beginning, like what it is to have like a new member and what they would see. So I'm going to take a time out here, get a sip of my vitamin water here. Is there any questions on anything in terms of the beginning phases of getting an account?
So each coach could look into this system then?
I'm sorry?
So each coach could, pull up the directory and look at all of this?
Yes. Yep. If they're in the membership, yes, they would be able to.
I didn't think that was supposed to be possible. It was only supposed to be for administration.
No, the coaches will have the ability once they're, so let's use this person here. Okay, so this person has an active membership. If they go to membership directory, they will have the ability here. So I'm logged in as, I think it's Gabe. Yes, I'm logged in as Gabe here. I do have the ability to reach out to other coaches that are in my conference, in my district, whatever the case is. It's a communication platform for them. So if they ever have to reach out for rescheduled games, or if whatever they're doing at their school, we do give members the ability to reach out to other members and have access to the directory.
But it's just the directory. They don't have access to any of the admin.
No, yes, it's only an email communication thing. Yeah, they're not going to be able to go into and mess around with people's forms or anything like that. Admins will have the ability to go in and do that. They just.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So say a coach is a coach at a club in Cleveland.
Okay.
He wants to promote a tournament he's doing outside of high school for like a U.S. youth club. He will have access to everyone's information that he can start soliciting, because I know that John had said that he didn't want that to happen, that he didn't want people to be able to solicit through to gain access to all of our emails. Right. I just, that's on John though at that point.
Yeah. So, like I said, here, anyone that's in your membership, they will have access to their emails. That's the only information. Like I said, they won't be able to get anything else on here, it looks like. So if I were to email everybody, yes, everyone would be blind carbon copied here, and I could send an email out basically trying to get a tournament or getting a game or whatever the case is, based on that.
Is there any way of blocking that? Because that's the whole purpose of this, was to make sure coaches don't get in and, like Scott just mentioned, to mention any tournament in the world, because we kind of block that right now with the system that we have. So, this is not what we were, at least I was understanding, that they would not be able to get into anything without us replying to that, because they'd have to reply to us first before they could go to any place else.
So are you saying, go ahead, Julie.
We can set it up however you all want. Like if you want your admins only to have access to the communication platform, that can happen. But the way AMP is set up across all the athletic directors associations across the country, there's a member-to-member communication piece where everything is blind BCC'd, it's blind copied. But we can set it up the way you all want if you just want that coming through administrators.
Yeah, I do not want any of my coaches to be able to have access to that, because I have too many club coaches and they use, I don't allow them to have any emails to that. So, for me, for Central, I only get the info, and then if I want to send it out, then I can send it out if it's worthwhile. Because the whole idea of it is to eliminate anybody to pop into this.
I understand. Yep.
So basically, you all we did not understand it that way, which is fine. But basically, you all do not want your members to be able to communicate member to member at all. To look for scrimmages, games, nothing.
Yeah. We gotta be careful here. We can't say that every region or district in Ohio wants this or doesn't. Gene's talking about his specific district. So is it possible that a vice president or president could say just our district doesn't have email, or is it something that we have to make a decision statewide about?
Well, we might, based on the way the platform is developed right now, we might have to make a decision, association-wide. But that is something like Quinn and I can meet with Brian or who's ever, needs to make these decisions. We just need to meet and just get a clarification on how we're programming this for you, how we're coding it. Yeah.
Yeah, I marked down what Gene said, and I'll make sure I share it with him as well, and we can get back to Gene about that. It's a legitimate concern, though, obviously. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just let us know. Thank you.
I mean, I was in the impression that's the way it was going to be. So, I mean, that's the only reason I kind of somewhat, I'm not really a computer genius, but I also don't want, people getting access to any of this. To be honest with you, then that was the whole purpose of this, because it's our coaches can zoom into anything, or an assistant coach can zoom into this, and then that would be really defeated the purpose of doing this on Final Form. And that was the only reason why I would agree to do this, so that way I don't have to answer 50 million questions. So I was misled. So if we can't control this about our coaches, then I'm not sure I really want to do the Final Form.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So moving on then, we'll go ahead. So again, I was showing you guys the members portion of it. I'm going to go ahead and now move into what you guys see as admins. So what you guys will see as admins is very close to what I see here as obviously someone that works for AMP. So we'll go ahead and use Mike, for example, because I know that you are an admin. Okay. So this feature that I keep doing right here, you guys might have recognized what I'm doing as an admin. This is what you guys will be able to do. So you guys can become anyone in your membership. So let's say a coach calls you up, you're on the phone with them, they're having trouble to get registered with their account, or they're having trouble finding their forms. You can come to this edit button here and go to become them, and you can kind of walk them through the process of what it is to register, sign their forms, pay their memberships, whatever the case is. So that's why I told you from the beginning, I was like, I will show you what this is here in a second, because right now I'm going to become Michael and show you guys what it looks like from his perspective. So again, what he sees when he logs in, if you just let me scroll here. Yep. Again, when you get logged into your account, you're going to see everything here. So again, his membership is up to date. He's made payments. Everything is all, he sees what groups he's a part of, what district he's in, all that kind of stuff. As we mentioned, he has access to the members portion, as well as all the events that you guys are going to be having that are taking place. The member payment history, like I mentioned to you guys that we were going to cover. And then there's a bunch of different groups down here too that you guys can, if you guys wanted to see your school districts, your divisions, conferences, all that kind of stuff. So the admin view of things is obviously more in depth than your regular members' views. So I'm just going to go ahead. A lot of the work today that we're going to be going through is going to be in members. Events, I'm going to show you just what it looks like once you guys have an event up. Your member payment history, if you guys are doing any payment processing or that kind of stuff for your membership. And then again, if we have time, we'll go into groups so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. So the bread and butter of it all, like I said, is going to be under your manage and members. Okay, so this is the admin's view. Like I said, if you don't have this view, let me know, let Mike know, whatever, or whoever it is, Brian. We can go ahead and get you guys admin, and that's what this little feature, this little guy right here with the computer is. That will indicate that is an admin or association admin. So again, like we were saying from the beginning, some of you guys might be Final Form schools. You might know what most of these like color codes are. For those that do not, I'm happy to explain it really, really quick so you guys can get the most out of your admin's perspective. So I'm going to zoom in really quick so you guys can see. These little icons over here with the arrow are going to indicate that they've confirmed their account. Okay, so like in the beginning, when I made that fake character, I went through and I applied at the account. As soon as I set my password up and I get logged in, I would go from red to green. So that just indicates that you've created your account and you have confirmed it. These next three are pretty simple. Have they paid their fees? Are their forms signed? And are their memberships clock up to date? Okay, so that's really what the purpose of these are. Once I go through and I pay my membership, I sign my forms, and everything's all good, I would then obviously turn green like KJ is here at the top. If I haven't done anything or anything like that, obviously the icons would be red. So there's a bunch of information here that you guys can use. Of course, you guys can filter, you guys can sort. Those are big things here. So the magnifying glass is a really, really good feature that you guys can use to reach out to coaches that maybe, might have confirmed their account but haven't signed any forms yet, or might have confirmed their account and haven't paid their fees yet, or maybe they want to attend your upcoming event. There's a bunch of different sort options that you guys have that you guys can take advantage of. So like, for example, here, I'm just going to show you a quick one. So let's say I want to go to all the members that have confirmed their account that have a current membership with us, and I want to go to the ones that just maybe they haven't paid any fees yet. Okay, so just by going to those 3 here, if I press search, it's going to pull up 7 records for me. Okay, so let's say, for example, we could even go in more depth. Let's say, okay, so we were talking about the different districts. Okay, so I want to take care of, because I'm in Cleveland, I only care about seeing my Cleveland district, for example. So if I type in Cleveland and go to the Cleveland district, now it shows me we have 2 members that have confirmed their account, have signed their forms, but they haven't paid their membership yet, or they haven't paid their fees, whatever the case is. You guys can specifically target your guys' coaches in your guys' district just by the click of a few buttons here. So it's really, really good. I'll go through and I'll show you guys, like I said, for the sake of time and stuff, I'll go through and I'll show you guys some other sorts as we go through. I just wanted to be able to just show you guys that you have the ability to do this. And you can email these people too. So that's like we said, if you wanted to send an email to both the Davids here and say, hey, we appreciate you that you've confirmed your account and signed your forms. Just, if you could get into, pay your fees or whatever the case is, we'd appreciate it, before an event or whatever it is. So there's ways to email as well as ways to export information. So I'll go through and I'll show you guys a different export here in a little bit, but I just want to show you guys that you do have the ability. I know one of our things on the itinerary was to show you guys how to export information. There's different exports here that you guys can take advantage of as well. The most popular one would be just your basic CSV. So it's going to pull up all their first name, last name, their school, their district, if they're a head coach, assistant coach, whatever the case is. That's what your basic CSV would look like. However, there's some other ones in here as well that we'll get into as we keep the training going. So other than that, let me get through these last 3 over here on the side, and then I'll take a pause and see if you guys have any other questions for me. So again, I showed you guys these 3 on the left, or these 4 on the left. There are 3 over here on the right that I also want to show you too. So bell icon is a great feature just for you to quickly send out a reminder to a coach. So for example, here, again, we'll use the same example that David hasn't paid his membership. If you just click on the bell icon and press prompt payment, an email will be sent to, it'll just come right from the Final Forms mailman, or Final Forms AMP mailman, should I say. It'll go right to his email, just basically saying, hey, go into your account. You still have unpaid fees that you need to pay. And you could send them their membership card too. Once they've paid their membership, you'll have the ability to send them their membership cards. So again, the bell icon's a quick, easy way. That way you don't have to go in and send a manual email each time. This is just almost like an automatic reminder. It's literally the press of 2 buttons and they're going to get notified. This icon over here is just going to be any forms or documents that they have if they've uploaded anything. For example, I know on the Final Form side of things, kids use them to upload their physical forms or whatever the case is. Same kind of idea here on the AMP side of things. If they have any forms or any kind of documentation that they need to upload, they can go ahead and do that here. And then again, the edit button, I've already kind of showed you guys how you can become your members. So again, I'm logged in as Michael right now. Mike, if you go in and press the edit button here, you can actually become David and see what it looks like from his perspective. Or you could even help him to change his password if he can't get into his account. You could do that. And then even assigning groups is just going to be basically showing them their schools, their districts, their divisions, all that kind of stuff is where you would assign their groups. So other than that, I know I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm going to take another time out, get some more vitamin water here. Any questions on the admin's members page here? Again, we're under the manage members page, and we're just doing a couple sorts here just so you guys can kind of see what it looks like from an admin's perspective. So any questions?
Hey, Nick, I do have a question back to the new members.
Sure.
For those districts that have not been on Final Forms yet, like I see a few of the Southeast, they're in red, that were imported by the OSSCA. So do they have to create an account when we go to do this? Will that create a double account for them, or since they're already there, or how will that work?
So since they're already in here, if they already have an account here in AMP, we can go ahead and send them a confirmation email to their email to have them log in and just basically set up a password.
Okay.
If they're a brand
Gotcha.
coach, for example, and they're not in the system, then they would go through and apply for an account that way. Yep. So
okay, gotcha.
And you guys as admins too. I'm glad you said that. You guys as admins too. Let's say we use me for example. Okay, so we're gonna type in. Okay, you're a new coach at Brooklyn. Okay, let's get you an account. Okay, I see you don't have an account. I'll go ahead and create you one right now while I'm on the phone with you. So you guys as admins also have the ability to create the accounts for them. Right, if you're on the phone with them via email, you guys can do this. We also help with this as well. Our support team at the bottom of any page, if you see here the use support, you guys can, if you just click on that, it takes you right over to our support inbox. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you guys ever have any support questions, or if you guys ever need help setting up an account, for example, feel free to reach out to us too. So just wanted to show you guys that you guys do have the ability to create new members as well too.
So Nick, Nick, I just want to be clear on what you just said before. So that email to districts that have not joined Final Forms before, but have data imported from the OSSCA, who is generating that email? Is it the district president or person managing the account, or is that something Final Forms is going to send out when we go live on April 1st?
Yep. When you guys go live, Final Forms will be the one that sends that.
Okay. So if any person who's in this meeting, if they go into the Final Forms account and they see their coaches in red, then they know their coaches are going to get an email from Final Forms saying, hey, you should click this link and start your login process.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So that they're aware that an email from us is coming. That way they don't think it's spam, or you see an email, just deleting it, for example. So,
right.
Yep.
So I need one other question, Nick. Sorry. So each platform, like says, my school's in Final Forms, and I get that's where I get all my notifications of my. Like I need my security, my background checks, all my licensings and all. That's really the only thing that they use us for. I mean, we can use it more in depth, but I don't as a coach. So that account, so if you type my name in there right now, I'd already be in the system, but it wouldn't be in the system.
Let's see.
That was Scott McMillan.
Let's see. Okay, so Scott, you're in here. Yeah. However, obviously, we haven't sent anything out to you. Final Forms and AMP, we are the same company. However, just think of it like a different platform. So your Final Forms account, if you're a Final Forms account and you're using it as a coach, you're going to have a different essentially you're going to have a different you're going to have to go to a different website to log in essentially. So there is a way, we could talk about this later. It's basically like merging accounts. So if you do have a Final Forms account, there's a way to identity switch so that you could just go from your Final Forms preview right over to your AMP side. However, I don't want to get into like any confusion with that right now. Basically just think of it like your Final Forms school, great. You have a Final Forms account as a coach. Your AMP, or for this instance, OSSCA, you're going to have a different AMP site, obviously, to access this information.
Great, thanks.
Yep. Can you? Yeah, my school also use Final Forms, so can I create two different ones so that way, I mean, I'm going to end up.
Sure.
So you can do it separate then.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can set it up separately if you'd like to. I know that we do have the ability to, like I said, merge accounts. So if you do have a Final Forms account and you're using the same email, you could then go ahead and identity switch, like I mentioned, to go into their AMP. But for right now, like I said, you could use just two separate if you wanted to.
Yeah, because I think a couple of our teachers have Final Forms accounts because there are coaches in their schools using Final Forms. So it would be great if they could set up a separate account. So that would be two separate things. Also, Gene, I just got off texting with Brian Green, and he said, yeah, we'll set up the email so that only administrators can email each other. We won't give coaches access to all the emails. So that should take care of that concern.
Cool.
Yeah, Nick, I just had a question. The new members that will be coming in with no Final Forms, so new coaches that are getting hired, let's say in May,
mm-hmm.
Will you give us the link to send to them?
Yeah.
That works. Okay.
Yep. So the link, I mean, yeah, you guys can seriously just copy that link and send it to them so that they can get logged in and go through the process that I like showed you guys in the beginning. But yeah, that page is going to take them right into your guys' link to get set up.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Another reminder about your coaches too. Remember, if they switched, like they're in your association, but let's say they're taking a new job at another high school, or they're switching teaching jobs plus coaching jobs, they're obviously probably going to have a new email address, and they need to update that, because that the email address is their main identifier in their Final Forms AMP account for the soccer association. So remind them though, they can simply though use the support button in the bottom right hand corner, and they can send us a note and we'll update their email. But that is a reminder. If they've moved jobs or whatever, they're going to have to change their email address and update their account.
Yep, that's a great point. A lot of times to voice that as well too. Sometimes you'll see here, like KJ, for example, is using a personal email for that reason alone. So some coaches prefer to use personal emails. Some of them like to just use their school assigned email. It doesn't matter, regardless. Like Julie said, for them to make sure that their emails are up to date is obviously the most important. So
yeah, and Julie, that's actually a really good point. We all have a couple coaches that might move from school to school, but they also might move from district to district. So if they're under Final Forms, they'll be under their old district. Like they'll be like boys D1 Cleveland, and they might be in Akron and be D2 girls. So it's important that they get that part of the form filled out properly. Otherwise, they will pop up on another district's list, and so you just have to make sure that they, when they join, that they fill out the form properly. And you'll be able to track that. You'll see their information will be wrong on the screen, but that they'll need to clean that up.
Good.
So on April 1st, you're sending out a blast of emails to all coaches. Is that correct from Final Forms?
I think we are. I'm not. I'd have to double check and see. Are we exactly going to be launching on April 1st, or were we going to push it? I think we'd have to talk.
We're going April 1st.
Okay. Then if that's the case, then yes, we would be able to blast out like an email confirmation to all your members so that they can get in and start signing up.
But Central's not doing it April 1st.
So my understanding is, after talking to Brian and John about this, is that you can advertise whatever day you want this to go live, but they have no way of doing it individually by each district. So like April 1st, it'll turn on, and then you tell your membership whenever you want them to start joining and filling out. So like in Cleveland, we may not go April 1st. We may go April 5th or whatever. I think the one thing that I mentioned to Brian and John that was important is we need to know what date the OSSCA is going to send out a message to all the athletic directors. So that's a key email. And so that would have to be after we know all the districts go live, because I think the plan is to try to send 3 of those out. One before school, minimally 1 or 2 before school ends in May, and then try to do one again in July and August as we start ramping up, so that they can reach out to membership in case they haven't joined. Now that's where I left it with Brian when I talked to him yesterday. So if anyone has any issues with that, I would say, hey, maybe give me an email, or email Brian or John, so we can try to work that part out. But, and I could be wrong in this, but my understanding is that you guys can, after April 1st, you can start your registration whenever you want, but Final Forms will go live on April 1st. But the only way your membership would know is if you told them go to Final Forms and start to register. So,
but if they see that, then they're going to think they can register, and I'm going to
you are, but I think the idea is we don't have to. Final Forms does not have to send the email out, Gene, on April 1st. I would think Final Forms would send that out whenever the last school is going to be live.
Yeah, whenever you guys,
right. So that way, if you want to send out an email to your district on April 1st because you want to get a head start, you can. And if not, you say we're not starting till May, then you send out your email in May. But the Final Forms email directed from them will come out whenever the last date we're all starting to do registration, which I imagine will be sometime in April or May.
Well, Scott's starting in April 1st.
Yep. So Scott will send his email out and it'll be live, but that doesn't mean Final Forms has to send an email out to everyone on April 1st.
Cool. Okay. So let's see. I just want to make sure I cover everything today. So I'm going to go back to the itinerary here. So I showed you guys what it was, what your membership will see when they register, how you guys can email and communicate with your members. I showed you guys that. How you guys can keep track of new members as they register. So just another thing, again, I'm just going to show you a really quick sort here. So for example, you guys are starting to get new members registering, whatever the case is. So we're going to go to, again, using the sort option here, there are a bunch that you guys can use. I'd like to go down to, and I'll show you guys as I keep rolling here. Account created. So let's say their account was created, I don't know, in the past 6 months. I want to see all my ADs, all my coaches, for example, that have had their accounts created in the past 6 months. Okay, and I need to send them an email, thanking them for joining, whatever the case is. So if you click on that, you'd see here that there was 94 records of people that have like their accounts were created in the last 6 months. And then again, if you guys wanted to, like I showed you guys, if you wanted to sort by your specific district or a specific conference, whatever the case is, you guys could go ahead and do that and target those coaches out there the same way you would normally just by using the sort option here. So one of the biggest things too, I should probably say, if you guys ever want to kill your search or if you want to just go back to all of your members, you would just go to this little cancel button here, or the Ghostbusters sign is what Julie always says. That's what takes you back over to all your records. So you'll notice there was 94 before. You take that off, it takes you back to your 11, almost 1150. So that's how you would handle like new members and stuff. Like I said, I showed you guys as well. If you needed to create accounts for them, or again, if you needed to reach out to support, you know how to do that. The last, again, we're getting close to time here, about 15 minutes. The last few points here that I want to touch on is just basically how you guys can generate reports. I'm going to show you guys like member payment history. If you guys want to go through any payment processing questions, stuff like that, I'll show you guys a couple reports. We have one that's actually an ode to USC, which will help you guys out too once you guys start doing memberships. And then where you guys can find events. So we'll go through those last 3 points, and then I'll kind of open it up for a last Q&A before we close up here. So again, I'm going to show you guys really quick. So we're under the manage members. If we go to manage all events, so again, I'm still logged in as Michael as an admin. Once you guys start getting events in here, this is where you guys will be able to see your members. If you guys have vendors, I'm not sure if you do or don't, but you guys will be able to see all of this stuff here under the events tab. So obviously there's no events here, so don't worry about it right now. But if you guys start having, again, conferences, meetings, semi-annual meetings, whatever the case is, as you guys start creating events, this is where you guys could populate to see all the members that plan to attend those. If there's any fees associated with that, you guys could see what fees are with the event, whatever the case is. So I thought I'd at least show you that on this call today. So if you guys are ever in there for events, you guys can see that. Let's pop over to going in my inbox. Generating reports. So yes, let's pop over now to manage payment history, or member payment history, should I say. So again, there's a few ways for you guys to get like any kind of reports that you guys need. I showed you guys how to do it on the member side. This is the same thing. If you just go to like member payment history, okay. If you guys are dealing with payments, if you guys are, checking to see if your memberships have been paid for your guys' districts, whatever the case is, you guys have the ability to see that here. So again, using the sort option here, there are different ways and different things that you could sort by to see, okay, who has paid for their membership within the last, since the beginning of the year, right? So you could easily sort by dates here. Okay, so I'm going to go from the beginning of the year. I'm going to go to anyone that's paid their membership. Okay, so it looks like obviously that's not the case. Let's go back to, we'll just do, for sake of, there we go. Since July, I'm just making this thing up, obviously, for the sake of the presentation. But since July, for example, I want to see all of my members that have made payments towards their membership. Okay, if you could use the dates option here to see that, and this will show you guys all the records here. So basically, it looks like there's 684 records. You guys could see if they've paid via credit card, it's going to be a green tab here. If they were entered by like a check, for example, so you see Brian went in and entered a check, it would be the same thing. You would see it in gray. So there's different ways for you guys to track your payments. One of the other things I do want to show you while we're here is that ode to USC export that you guys can go ahead and send out. So just like our athletic director associations, our superintendent associations, obviously you guys as coaches associations, as your memberships and stuff happen, you guys might have some stuff that you owe to the USC, for example. Same thing like we have for athletic directors, owed to the NIAAA. It's the same concept here. So you guys could see, for example, I want to see, okay, all my records since July that owe money to USC. Okay, so what's owed to USC is populated here. And you guys, if you guys need to send out these reports, for example, you could go through and export this so that you have all this information at the tips of your fingers. So if you needed to send a report out to whoever you need to send it out to, you have the ability to sort by different payments and different, again, if they're paying for membership, if they're paying for events, if they're paying for an LTI, for example, you guys would be able to see that and even get even more specific. So, okay, I want to see all, all that's owed to the USC, but I want to see it. I want to exclude everybody besides head coaches, and you can go through and do that sort. So again, I'm just showing you guys a bunch of different options here, a bunch of different things that you guys can take advantage of. I don't expect you guys to remember all this, and I don't expect you guys to know all this from day one. But again, just wanted to show you guys that you guys do have the abilities to track payments, improve communication, reach out to your coaches, that kind of stuff to promote membership, all that here through Final Forms AMP.
Hey, so, Nick, Scott has a really good question. It's on the chat. He said, if we use the platform to manage our events like banquets and all-star games, do fees transfer to us? And what merchant fees are involved?
I'm sorry, so you cut out there. Let me just look at the chat here. Okay. So if we use the platform to manage our events like banquets and all-star games, do fees transfer to us? And what merchant fees are involved? I might have to defer that to Julie. I know that if they're paying via like credit card, I know that there's usually like a 4% fee that they have on credit card transactions because we use a third-party system. I think it's Stripe that they use to pay like use them basically to process payments. In terms of like banquet and all-star games, do fees transfer to us? What do merch? I'm not exactly sure on that. Julie probably has. Yeah.
We can do it either way. So that's a great question. You as the association can consume any transaction fees, or you can put those fees on your members as they register for like an all-star game, a banquet, All-American, whatever that you're doing. Either way, the fees are not, if the member consumes the fee when they register for something and they're paying via credit card, they see the fee before they actually check out. Yep. So they know what that credit card fee is, just like, when you're doing it on any online ordering, like we order everything online anymore. How you always see it, it's the same difference here. A lot of schools, just FYI, a lot of schools will not pay credit card fees if they let the coach use like a department credit card or from the treasurer's office. So we do put that language at the checkout too, but they also have the ability to pull a generated invoice at checkout so they can do a requisition or PO with their treasurer's office. So all of those options are there when your members go to checkout. They see every bit of those options from doing a requisition PO, online payment, even personal check for that matter.
No, that's great because that for the schools that will be paying the fees, that's a great option that they get the invoice so they can get the purchase order. Yep. Yeah, that's great. That'll help us a lot.
And as far as getting the money back, my understanding would be that it would come in the OSSCA Treasury, and then because you could issue a report, then you could just get the money back from OSSCA. So if they use final forms, the check went to OSSCA, you would be able to run a quick report and say, hey, you owe us I'm making these numbers up, obviously, $50,000 for our All-Star game, and, and please send us that check. But that for sure would be a possibility. In fact, I think that's probably what they're expecting. But I can't say for sure.
Mike, that's usually how we run it. Like for example, in Ohio, the OIAAA, which is the Athletic Directors Association, we run things constantly for the Northeast District, the Northwest, Southwest, all of that. We're constantly running meetings, small conferences, whatever the case may be, scholarship dinners, and everybody does their registration through there. Then our OIAAA treasurer simply runs a report out of what Nick just showed you of the member payment history. And then he knows exactly how much money goes back to the Southwest District or the Northeast District for their conference or whatever they're doing. So that's exactly how they run all that.
One other question, Julie, is on for us. I mean, this would be a great tool for us to use for our banquet. We have 2 500+ participant banquet, and if we could get the registration, I think the only hiccup I would have would be the time frame from the when we close our banquet ticket order, whatever registration RS, to the time that you guys would be able to transfer the funds to Brian Green, and Brian Green give me the money back, because I know the banquet halls, they want their money that day. So
so that's really good. That's a good point too. The transfer of funds is set up by your association. So if you want transfer of funds every 2 days into the account, every week, or every month, that is designated by your association. We at Final Forms AMP we do not decide that. We set it up the way you want those funds going in. Again, you can do it as quickly as every 2 days. You can do every week. You can do bi-monthly, or you can do monthly.
Oh, that's awesome.
That would be up to Brian Green, then, is that correct? Since he's our treasurer.
I can't. Yeah. I don't want to speak for Brian, but I think that would be the case. That Brian would say how many. If you guys were doing this, you'd work with him and say, hey, we want 2 days or 1 week. And then he could cut a check based on the report that gets run on the last day you guys agree to have money deposited in the account.
And my other question I have, if the school does not pay the fee, the 4% fee, who pays for that? That comes down to my district, Julie?
No, so that's what I was saying. Like when let's say you're running, like a member needs to pay their membership fee, and you're already running an event. Let's say you're running your banquet plus a membership fee.
No, just membership fee only. No, we're not running a banquet or anything. Just membership fee only. If the school pays by credit card and they don't pay the percentage, who pays for that?
No, you misunderstood me. If they check out, they're gonna get charged that fee. We're saying they see the fee before they even check out with that credit card, and they can back out then and say, okay, my school won't pay. I know they'll get, they'll ding me on this, so they can back out and hit generate invoice, and then they can download that generated invoice to take to their treasurer's office. But if they check out, they're going to get charged that fee on that credit card.
But if they check out, then they've not paid their dues, right?
No. If they pay, as soon as they check out via credit card, their dues are posted automatically.
Yeah.
Their clock starts running and their dues are paid.
Right, but if they don't pay that percentage, and let's say they decide not to, the school tells them we don't pay that 4%, then they're not going to click that they're paying. So how they going to be able to pay? They're going to have to send a check then, correct?
Exactly. That's where the button is. Nick, do you want to pull up that page, the checkout page?
Yep.
They have options to either pay online, or there's that black right there, that black generated invoice button. If they're choosing to pay by personal check and or PO, they click on that black button and it downloads their generated invoice. It has their name on it, has their high school, their school district name on it. It even has there's the generated invoice right there. That's what it looks like. and then they can take that to their athletic department, treasurer's office for their requisition PO.
So then the coach would have to make sure that all got turned in. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be their responsibility.
Wow.
That's not that hard.
No, we
that's because you don't have 135 people. I have 135. You have 40. So it is a little.
No, I don't have 40. I have 90. Gene and
but Gene, they're still going to be registered. Like they're still going to be registered.
They will.
They're all their information will be there. All that'll appear on the screen is that they don't have a green for pay. And when Brian Green gets paid, he will click on the red and make it green. You don't have to do anything. They're all registered. All the paperwork's done. They will not be considered fully registered until Brian Green gets that check.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, their forms will be completed. So you can sort by completed forms and know that, but you can also sort by completed and unpaid. And as soon as they, like, just like Mike said, Brian gets that check, he marks it paid, and then their account will be it'll be fully, they'll be fully valid. Their clocks will be running, everything will be good. They'll all be green on that. And you can check out all your members by who's green, who's yellow, or who's red still. And that's the beauty of Final Forms AMP, is that you can tell very quickly by a sort who you have paid, who you have unpaid, and who you have pending.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. Alrighty, so I know we have about 3 minutes left. I know that we were scheduled for an hour. So again, I appreciate everybody's time. I'll go ahead and open up if you guys have any other questions on anything. Just before I go ahead and do that, again, I just want to tell you guys again, if you ever need any, support, any kind of, if you have any questions, if you need to reach out to us, we're here to help you. So again, just by clicking on the use support on any page in Final Forms AMP, you guys can reach out to us. Again, our support's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We'll be able to help you guys out if you guys ever need anything, that kind of stuff. We're here to help you guys, and hopefully you guys could see the benefits of it, and hopefully you guys thought this was beneficial for you guys. So
hey Nick, there were just I put in the chat. I don't know if anyone saw this, but I just put a couple of questions. These are the questions I'm going to bring to Brian and John. Please feel free in the chat to ask any questions that I can take to them. The first question I'm going to ask is what dates does Final Forms send out email to invite registration? So are we doing like one statewide, or are we doing one by district? And then also, when are we going to Final Forms? We're going to use the Final Forms feature to send out an email to all the ADs. So from what I saw, from the notes I took in the meeting, those are two things we need to get solved pretty quickly, like by tomorrow, so that people know what that's going to look like. So if there's other questions or other concerns off that, you want to type that in the chat, then I can take that on to John and Brian. Obviously, you guys can call John and Brian too, but I have a meeting with Brian tomorrow, and I'll kind of go through that and try to get an email to all you guys saying this is what they're thinking about doing. And, and I don't think that's going to be a big concern for us to sort that out. But again, the big questions I saw that I saw in the meeting were, what dates do Final Forms send out email to invite registration? So is that unique to each district, or are we just sending one out on April 1st? And then can the districts send out separate emails? And then Sarah and I were talking a little bit on the text feature. And if you didn't hear me because I blacked out or whatever, Brian did text me back and said that each district can set its fees, and those fees will be separate, and that'll be already in the system when it opens on April 1st. So
great. Cool.
Thank you, Nick. Sorry. So I'm sure I get that before you close out the meeting.
So, okay. Other than that, like I said, feel free to reach out to me once you have those answers to those questions or whatever the case is, Mike. You can email me. You have my email. Other than that, I'm more than happy to stick on. If not, I appreciate everybody's time, and hopefully everything is sorted out here soon, and we look forward to working with you guys. So
great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yep.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks. See you guys.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.